Right now, I'm placing some wild bets on some incredibly tiny crypto projects in a new crypto narrative called Internet Capital Markets. In this video, I'll break down exactly why I'm betting big here, why I believe that these new type of altcoins could multiply massively, and the specific tokens I'm buying today. So if you've never heard of Internet Capital Markets, you're probably wondering, what in the world is that? Internet capital markets are the newest, hottest trend in the crypto space. And in some ways, they're kind of like the next evolution of meme coins. And in other ways, they're maybe even potentially the next evolution of altcoins in general. You could basically think of internet capital markets as something really similar to angel investing or venture capital investing. Basically, imagine you're a young founder and you have this amazing startup idea. It's like a new AI startup or a new biotech startup or I don't know, a new social media startup. And you really think this is a killer idea. You have the skill and expertise to execute on this idea, but you currently don't have the funding for this idea. And maybe you don't have the right VC connections in Silicon Valley, or maybe you don't know how to, quite navigate that space. But you've been watching this meme coin space where completely worthless tokens will go to 100 million plus in market cap or 500 million plus in market cap or $1 billion plus in market cap. And you're thinking to yourself, if only I could somehow tap into that market and raise money for my startup, I would be set. I'd have all the funds I need to launch my startup, and that'd be a much better use of all that capital than just, YOLOing into, worthless meme coins that aren't really producing any economic value. And that basically in a nutshell is exactly what internet capital markets are. It's a way for anyone with an idea to raise funding for that idea. But by tapping in and using the same mechanisms that people are using to launch meme coins that go to 100 million, 500 million, $1 billion plus in market cap. And the main force behind this trend is something called Believe.app. And it's basically like Pump.fund, but for ideas rather than just meme coins. And the really crazy part is this is already working. This isn't like just some theoretical, like, oh, we're gonna do this in the future, but there have already been tens of thousands of these tokens launched. And some of them have like, Harvard graduate founders behind them. And others have some actually really surprising viral use cases. For example, one of the apps launched through this site called Believe.app is this site called Dupe, and it helps you find similar products for less. Another one of these apps is called Noodle.gg, and it's really similar to the snake game. If you ever played the old app, the snake game where you like eat each other's snakes, it's like that, but you have to pay an entry fee. So you like stake down money to start the game, and any person you kill, like you eat their money, and then you get their cash that they have on them. And then obviously the biggest noodle at the end wins the most cash. It's actually a really cool idea. Then there's one called Ninja Chat, which gives you premium access to a bunch of AI tools all bundled together. So basically, instead of paying for like all these AI subscriptions, you pay for one AI subscription and get access to all of those tools. Most of these ideas have literally nothing to do with crypto, except for they're using a token as a funding mechanism to fund their startup. And I actually ended up buying two different tokens within this narrative. One's a little bit bigger and one's a little bit, a lot smaller. It's really, really tiny. And I'll share both of those a little bit later in this video. And I know what some of you guys are thinking, but what about securities laws? Because this definitely sounds a lot like a tokenized security. And if you're not familiar with securities laws, it's basically been the bottleneck for the entire crypto space since the inception of crypto. They are the reason that you have governance tokens and utility tokens and all these kind of worthless tokens that don't actually, infer any sort of ownership on the token holders. That's because of security laws. And basically because of the SEC and these securities laws, you have a lot of these tokens that get really creative in how they pass value back onto token holders, how they tie value to their tokens to try to avoid being called an outright security, but at the same time get as close to the line as they can when it comes to providing value to token holders. And internet capital markets or ICM tokens do the same thing. They skirt as close to the line as they possibly can without outright crossing the line and becoming a security token. And it's also worth noting that the new SEC under Paul Atkins and with Hester Pierce leading the way when it comes to crypto has done a complete 180 on the old SEC under Gary Gensler, meaning they're extremely favorable toward crypto innovation. They want to foster it. They want to see it happen. And they want to create an environment where innovation can foster, similar to how the internet fostered in the early 1990s in the US, where it had a ton of exemptions, a ton of things that it was allowed to do, including, if you remember, early internet companies didn't even pay sales tax in the early days versus traditional brick and mortar retailers. In the same way, they want to provide a huge open field for crypto to innovate so that more crypto startups and founders come build in the United States. And that means things like exemptions to make it easy to trade tokenized securities on the blockchain. It's also important to note that Paul Atkins, the new head of the SEC, is a massive proponent of free markets and deregulation. And Hester Pierce, who's the head of the crypto task force at the SEC, is a huge supporter of the crypto space that's appeared on tons of crypto podcasts. I've gone to crypto conferences and seen her walking around. She also is a big believer in innovation, deregulation, and making it easier to build and innovate in the crypto space in the US. Bringing it all together, I believe in the near future, crypto is about to undergo a radical shift where the vast amount of tokens and things trading on the blockchain won't necessarily have anything to do with crypto. They'll be simply utilizing crypto rails to transfer around value or to raise funds from a global market in the same way that meme coins currently tap into a global market and are able to go to $1 billion plus in market cap. And we'll have researchers raise funding for scientific research and startups raise funding for their new startup. And all of us will get to participate in this process by investing in potentially, the next cure to cancer or something, or investing in the next AI startup, etc. And I believe things like Believe.app, which I'm going to talk about in a second, have the potential to be the future Silicon Valley like place of the world, or maybe the future NASDAQ of the world. The go-to place where startups, founders, or anyone with an idea goes to initially launch that idea. Meaning, I believe the upside for an idea like this is actually unhinged. If you think about Ethereum's like original novel creation was the ability to launch ERC20 tokens. So Ethereum launched as a blockchain, and that made it a lot easier for other people to launch tokens via ERC20 tokens, which is why in 2017, you had a ton of people launching tokens that were really just ideas. They didn't really do anything with those tokens in most cases in the 2017 era. But that was really the thing that initially drove Ethereum's price up and kind of brought it to stardom. Meaning if Believe.app could become the fundraising platform, the fundraising launch pad for all of these startups, founders, ideas, etc., the growth potential is unhinged, and I think a lot bigger than most people are giving credit for today. In the future, I believe communities will fund apps, creators, ideas, restaurants, businesses, etc., directly through tokens, and those tokens will be publicly tradable from day one. And I believe the crypto app most well positioned to be the foundation of this new movement is Believe.app. And that's because Believe.app today is already where all of these projects are being launched. Believe.app is a Solana-based platform, and since launching in late April 2025, it has minted already 16,000 different tokens and generated billions of dollars in trading volume. And it has its own token called Launchcoin. And basically the way Launchcoin works is anyone can tweet at Launchcoin and the name of their ticker, and within 60 seconds, that token will be launched. And in the same way you have to graduate on Pump.fund, you have to graduate on this launchpad as well. So the token has to reach a market cap of 100K. If it reaches that market cap of 100K, it ends up graduating and becoming a live token that anyone could buy, sell, and trade on any DEX. But one of the novel characteristics of Believe.app is that the creator of the token doesn't actually have to buy or sell the token in order to make money. That's because every time somebody buys or sells a token, there's a 2% transaction fee charged. And of that 2%, 1% goes to the token creator and the other 1% goes to Launchcoin's treasury. Basically making it so the founder, the person that launched the token, can make passive income based purely on the trading volume for that token. Another unique characteristic of Believe.app is they have this thing called verified tokens. Because anyone could launch a Believe token, a lot of these tokens end up being scams or nonsense, etc. But to become a verified token, a creator has to apply, they have to share their identity, their X account, and a bunch of other information. Basically separating the founders who are serious and real builders in the space from, what could be a lot of scams and nonsense. And basically owning Launchcoin is like my bet on the infrastructure part of this whole internet capital market stack. If you believe, like I do, with the SEC loosening regulations and opening up the door to tokenized securities, then we're going to see a lot more tokens like this, and that eventually this is going to become the core part of what it means to trade on crypto. Every token launched on Believe.app feeds fees back to the protocol and the ecosystem. And at 200 million in market cap, if Launchcoin were to grow to just the size of Hyperliquid, that would be a 63x gain, turning every $1,000 invested into $62,000. If Launchcoin were to grow to the value of Solana, at the same size as Solana is today, it would be a 464x, turning every $1,000 invested into $463,000. Now, obviously, I'm not saying it's going to go to the size of Hyperliquid or the size of Solana. I have no idea what it's going to do in the future. But I am showing that even though it's sitting at $200 million today, it's actually relatively small for what it could potentially be if it became the go-to platform like Pump.Fund is for memes for launching internet capital markets type tokens. And personally, I deeply believe this is where the crypto space is going, and I ended up investing pretty heavily into Launchcoin going forward. I don't know if now is the exact time to be buying it or not. Obviously, you need to do your own research, make your own decision. Don't just jump into this because I'm talking about it. Use your brain, be an adult, and do whatever you're going to do. So that's the first token I ended up buying, and that's more of like a Polygon, Solana, the Hyperliquid type play. It's like more of a blue chip-ish. It's not quite a blue chip, but I believe it's heading there. It's more of that kind of play. The second token I bought is much, much smaller. It's much, much more degen. And so if you're a little bit of faint of heart, you're a little bit of weak in the heart, you get a little bit scared when you venture outside of your index funds, the rest of this video probably isn't for you. You could tune out now. You can go drink some of your tea, go sit in the backyard and watch your grass grow, or whatever it is you do. But for those of you who like taking a little bit of risk, you play a little bit on the more degen, absolutely unhinged, insane. You just like to burn your money for whatever reason in the crypto markets, down in these micro caps. This next section is for you, but obviously not investment advice. And if you lose money, please don't, there's no crying at the casino, okay? Please don't come to my comments and be like, I lost money, you're the worst. You know what, you're a grown adult. Do with your money as you please. I'm just here to share ideas. The second token I bought is also on Solana. It was launched on Launchcoin via Believe.app, and it's called Band. Band is a social media platform where users post 7-second videos similar to Vine, and the community can either love those videos or ban those videos. And if a video gets enough people pressing the ban button, then that video disappears from the platform and it's removed. And the idea is that the community is curating the videos that you watch, not some sort of algorithm. And the reason I'm betting on Band is that, for one, it's sitting at like $600,000 in market cap. So it's ridiculously tiny, meaning there's a lot of potential upside. The app is already live and it's got 2,000 users. It's already been shouted out by the official Solana account. The app feels like it's doing something culturally relevant to like Gen Z meets crypto kind of thing. And it's one of the few tokens that's actually verified on the Believe app platform. So currently there's only 20 tokens on Believe app that's verified. Band is one of those 20 tokens that's currently verified. And if the market starts to heat up just a little bit more, and we really see this narrative kick into overdrive like what we saw with AI agents earlier or late last year, and it's sitting at $600,000 in market cap, and there's only 20 verified tokens. Like this thing, if that were to happen, if that scenario were to happen, I think this thing could get unhinged the amount of growth potential it could see over a short period of time. And the final reason I'm buying this token is it was actually recommended to me by a member of the Obsidian Council. We have this really special role in the Obsidian Council called Nightfall, and anyone who recommends a token with conviction, like it can't just be they're posting a bunch of tokens, but they have to be like really convicted about a token that does a 10x or more, they get this special role showing basically they have some credibility in the things that they're calling out. And one of the guys in the Discord shilled this token called Collat over and over and over. Like he talked about it every day. He like DM'd me every single week telling me to buy this token. It was sitting at 5 million in market cap. I was an idiot. I didn't listen to him. And it's gone up 1,400% since then. He got awarded the Nightfall role, and this is the next token that he started shilling is this Band token. By the way, if you're interested in joining the Obsidian Council, it's currently closed to new members, but I'm opening it back up on June 2nd at 11 a.m. Eastern time. If you're interested in joining, there's a waitlist in the description of this video. If you're interested in buying Band or Launchcoin, there's a link to both tokens in the description of this video. Both are currently tokens you can only get on chain, meaning you're not going to be able to buy it on Coinbase, Kraken, etc. You got to actually do the work, go on chain and buy these tokens, but that's how it's going to be with all of the best opportunities in the crypto space. As always, none of this was investment advice. I am obviously not your financial advisor, and you should always do your own research. And specifically, again, I want to say with Band, it is a stupid tiny token, like stupidly small token, meaning there's an abundant amount of high risk. So any capital you throw into that thing, you should be like happy to say, bye-bye to that capital if it ends up declining in price, because those things, because they're so small, they can be extremely volatile. The price can move around a ton. And don't forget, later this week, I have an alt season timing video coming out where I'm going to dive into a couple of my different macro models and what they're saying as far as the timing of alt season. If this video is helpful, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it to be notified each time I release a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.